What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. As you can tell by the title, this video is going to be about cutting tips. Just me here talking about, tips to lose fat, slim down, get you better shape. I'm currently in a cutting phase. I started cutting about 4-ish weeks ago. Today's March 3rd. I started cutting the week of February 1st. So it's a little bit more than 4 weeks, I guess. Oh, I think today's Monday. Today will be 5 weeks cutting. So for me, it hasn't gone super. I'm not gonna say not super well, but it hasn't gone as planned. Like right now, I would have liked to have been at around 167, but I'm not 167. I'm like at 170, 170 point. What was it? 170 point something today in the morning. I don't know. I've been going back home a lot, so for me, going back home, getting off my diet plan, not doing my cardio. It was raining here up in Sacramento for a little bit, so walking to class wasn't really an option. So I wasn't being as active as I would have liked. But that's alright. I mean, I still got, March, April, and probably May to cut to get down to my goal weight of 150, right? I think I'll just jump right into it. Yeah, I'll jump right into it. I got nothing written down or anything, so I'm just gonna be talking about things that jump in my head or that I'm thinking about. So the first thing, and not a tip, but like the first thing is to understand that to lose fat, lose weight, is to be in a calorie deficit. You're gonna hear a lot of people saying that calorie deficit doesn't work for everyone, blah 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 blah. Like, no, sure there are some people that it's not as simple as just being in a calorie deficit, but the likelihood of you being one of those people is low. Some people do suffer from like certain diseases or like certain immune things, like certain things, right? That a calorie deficit just doesn't work for them, but that's like 1 in a million, right? Like the chances are not probably not 1 in a million, a little bit lower, but like the chance of that being you is unlikely, right? So if you're watching the video, to lose weight, you gotta be in a calorie deficit, right? And by that, you want to be burning more calories than you're consuming. So I'll use an example, and I'll stay with this example for like throughout the video in case I have to bring it up. But let's say you're 6 foot and you weigh 200 pounds, and you're eating 2,500 calories every day. You're tracking well. You know that's how much you're consuming, and day to day, week to week, your body weight doesn't change. You stay at 200, throughout the whole time. If you wanted to start losing weight, you would then need to drop your calories that you're eating by a little bit, or you could, if you're not doing cardio, you could start doing cardio, being more active, blah blah blah. Doesn't matter, but you would need to be burning more than 2,500 calories per day. And a good rule of thumb to follow is to try being a 500 calorie deficit every day, and that will get you about 1 pound loss every week, as there's approximately 3,500 calories in a pound of fat. So with the same example, you're eating 2,500 calories, you want to be making sure you're burning more than that, right? So in this case, if you're eating 2,500 calories and you don't want to drop food, then you would have to be burning an extra 500 calories a day. And as I said, that could be by cardio, being more active, anything that's gonna allow you to burn more calories. So alongside with that, the second tip is to make sure you don't cut your food too low. Some people, they're like, oh, I'm gonna cut my food super low and I'm gonna lose weight quickly. And sure, if you cut your food super low, you will lose weight quickly. Let's say you're eating 2,500 calories, I said, for the 6 foot guy, and they cut their food to 1,500 calories. Like, sure, you're gonna be losing a decent amount of weight every single week, and in 2-3 months you might be super slim or whatever. But it's gonna be super hard to stay consistent with that. So if you're someone who binge eats, who has cravings, who can't really control themselves super well with what they eat, cutting calories drastically is not a good option. Again, if you do that, you might be fine for a month, 2 months, maybe a little bit longer depending on who you are, but it's gonna catch up to you, and you're gonna be binging every night. You're gonna be, falling off your diet plan, and you don't want that. Obviously, you want to do something that's sustainable, that you're gonna be able to do day in and day out, week by week, month by month. So yeah, don't cut your food too low. So, you could pair it along with tip number 3 or whatnot. But as I mentioned, I would rather, someone do more cardio than cut their food low. So again, treadmill, fucking bike, elliptical, anything that you like, Stairmaster, anything you enjoy doing. And apart from that, as I mentioned the first about being a calorie deficit, try to be more active. instead of like, let's say for me, instead of driving to class, I try to walk. You know, it's a 25-minute walk there and back, right? So I try walking to class instead of driving. As long as I wake up on time and, well, it's not raining or like the weather's not bad, I'll walk to class. That allows me to burn more calories, be more active, get my steps in. Apart from that, I mean, you get sunlight, you know, vitamin D. So yeah, that's, I mean, 3, 4 things, I guess, or you want to present with 2 things being, and what, tip number 4, 5, I guess, with depending which way you're looking at it. Do not cut out, you know, food that you enjoy. Some people, they start cutting, they start losing weight, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna eat super healthy, and they cut out all junk food and stuff like that. And again, that's something you'll be able to do for a little while, but after some time, you're not gonna be able to do that. It's hard to really maintain that if you're used to eating out or like eating junk food, candy, chips, all that stuff. If you from one day to another you just cut that completely out, it's super hard to stick with it, to not eat that for long periods of time. So again, do not do that. If you're gonna start cutting, try to eat it out of moderation. You know, a good rule of thumb is to follow is the 80-20% diet rule, where 80% of the food you're eating are healthy foods, or quote unquote healthy food, and the 20% is, you know, your junk food and whatnot. Yeah, because I mean, you don't want to, you know, cut it all out. You do good for a couple weeks, and then, you know, you just go on a day after day binging on, you know, junk food, candy, all that stuff, because you've been withholding yourself from those types of food, and now you have a little taste of it, and now you want more and more and more. So it's good just to keep it in your diet, and then slowly, I mean, you can start decreasing. Like right now, I don't really eat too much junk food, just my gansito that I have every night. But yeah, I mean, don't cut out junk food. Don't, you know, just 100% go straight into it. What I'm about to say is a little hypocritical, because I mean, that's kind of what I did. I mean, when I wasn't cutting, I was just kind of eating whatever I wanted, and when I started cutting, I cut out everything besides the gansito at nighttime. It's a little bit hypocritical, but for me, I know I'm only gonna be cutting for about 3 months. You know, after that, I'm gonna go back to kind of eating more so what I want. I don't really care about having abs. You know, me personally, I don't really mind being a little bit higher body fat. So for me, I'm just cutting just because I feel like it, just because I want to. But after I get to that 150, I'm gonna go back up to about like 175, 180 within like a couple months, right? So for me, I know I'm only gonna be cutting for a little bit. So I would say for me, it's okay to cut out everything. Alright, so I cut the video just to look at it, make sure everything was okay. I didn't want to film all this in one clip and just have to and go back and look at it and see that the audio was messed up or something. So cut it just to make sure it was fine. So as I was saying, junk food. So don't cut it completely out. You know what? Unless you're like me or something, and you know you're only gonna be in a cutting phase for a little bit, and you know you could go, you know, 2-3 months without it, and you know you're gonna be binging. And I mean, go ahead. But if you're overweight, or you know you're gonna be in a calorie deficit for a super long time because you want to have abs and whatnot, then don't completely cut it out. Slowly limit it, and after some time, if you want to cut it out, you know, go ahead. I mean, if you know you're gonna be able to not eat junk food and stuff like that, or not eat it as much, then I mean, that's up to you. For the most part, I would say for your average person, eating junk food is kind of part of your diet or something like that. So you don't want to fully cut it out, but limit it. You know, everything in moderation. So next tip, I think tip number 6 or 7 is to keep your protein high. You often hear people say 0.7 to 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight is okay, and yeah, that's fine. I personally believe in a higher protein diet. So when I'm not cutting, I get about a gram of protein per pound of body weight. That's what I like doing. So if I weigh like 180, I'll try to get 180 grams of protein a day. If I don't, I get a little bit less, then that's okay. I'm fine with it, just because I'm in a calorie surplus. You know, I'm not cutting or anything. But when you're cutting, I definitely do suggest you keep your protein to at least 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Right now I'm at about 1.2, and as I get deeper into my cut, I'm gonna go up to 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight. Again, I personally believe you get more benefits from eating higher amounts of protein, but you don't want to maximize everything. You know, you're just an average person who, like, in terms of like going to a gym and stuff like that. I don't mean like average person, I mean like in terms of going to the gym to like work out, be healthy and stuff like that, then maybe it's not that important. But for me, who I want to be a bodybuilder, I want to be able to maximize everything. So I like keeping my protein higher. That's what I mean by average. I don't just mean like an average person like that. Yeah, keep your protein high. Protein helps you stay full for longer periods of time throughout the day compared to like carbs and fats. So your protein super high, then you're not gonna be as hungry throughout the day. Yeah, you do hear people say if you eat too much protein, it could be like damage to your kidneys and stuff like that, and that's not really, true. At least not with the 1 gram to 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight. Now, if you're eating 2 times, fucking 3 times, then I don't know what to tell you, but you don't need that much. That's an excessive amount. But if you're eating 1 to 1.5, you're fine. You'll be fine. Nothing gonna happen to you. Like you're not gonna get sick or anything like that. Yeah. So yeah, keep your protein high. So next tip 7, 8. Training. This is gonna be like for a training tip. So a mistake people often make when they start cutting is that they start changing up their training, which you shouldn't. It doesn't make sense to you. You shouldn't. You shouldn't be like, I'm gonna start cutting, so now I'm gonna start doing more volume, more reps and stuff like that. I don't know. People do that. I don't know why people do that. They have a misconception of like, I'm gonna start cutting, so that means I really can't push myself as much, which isn't true. Even though you're in a calorie deficit, for the most part, you really shouldn't be getting that much weaker, if any weaker, on really any exercises. Like this past time that I cut, I went from like 203, I was something like that, to like 160. So I lost 40 pounds, and with those 40 pounds, the only exercise that I really got weaker on was just the bench press. Like everything else, I got stronger. Like even my other press, like dumbbell press, machine press, all that stuff, I got stronger. The only specific exercise I got weaker on was just the bench press, but everything else was alright. So yeah, don't change up your training just because you're cutting. Don't start trying to do any fancy things. Just keep your training normal, how you've been doing it throughout the bulk, throughout maintaining. Don't change it just because you're cutting. So yeah, kind of next tip, number 8, I think. Mentally, you gotta be stronger than that. You can't. A little bit pairing with tip number 7, but you can't just be telling yourself you're gonna be weaker in the gym or blah blah this, blah blah that, because you're cutting that. Because that's not the way it works. For the most part, people eat a lot more calories than they need either way. So mentally, you gotta be thinking, I gotta push myself even more. You should be pushing yourself even more because you're cutting. You're not getting as much food, right? So when you're training, you really can't. You don't have as many calories as if you were bulking. So you gotta think to yourself, I gotta push myself even more. Push yourself more. Yeah, man. That's big tip number 8. What's another tip? That'd probably be good to write down some things just so I don't have to be thinking off the top of my head. Alright, I stopped the video to kind of gather my thoughts a little bit, actually think a little bit more. I want to do like 10 tips, right? So tip number 9 would be to drink more water. Kind of same thing with the protein. When you're drinking more water, you stay more full throughout the day, right? When I was cutting down to 160, toward like the last 2 weeks and stuff, sometimes I would go to sleep, but I was not super hungry, but a little bit hungry. I would just chug water, fill myself up, and then go to sleep. So again, when you're drinking more water, you're trying to get at least a gallon of water a day. That's good. You're drinking a lot of water with your meals or like throughout your meals or whatnot. You're gonna be more full. You're not gonna be getting as hungry. And yeah, that's tip number 9. Now, tip number 10 will be to not be ultra focused on the scale. A lot of people make that mistake of just looking at the scale and just basing everything off the number on the scale. Because there might be a couple days in a row where the scale doesn't move at all or moves very little. And the problem with that is that there are so many other ways to notice if you're losing body fat. Which, number one thing in my opinion, just look at yourself in the mirror. Maybe in the morning you're waking up with your stomach a little bit fatter. Maybe you see a little bit more veins popping out or something. As well as like clothes might fit you a little differently. A lot of people I know, they measure themselves before they start cutting, and as they go throughout their cut, they measure. Like, let's say you measure your arms before you cut, and as you're cutting, you keep on measuring them and stuff like that. Like maybe you could tell that you're losing a little bit of fat there. And the thing with the scale is that your body could hold, water for a couple of days, so it won't, the scale won't go down. Your body might be stressed. You might have ate a little bit later than what you normally do, so your food's not fully digested. You might have woken up throughout the day, throughout the night, and drank, water, or you might have not woken up throughout the night and you didn't use the restroom. Like, so many things could be that the scale doesn't move, right? People make the mistake of the scale's not moving. Okay, now I gotta cut food more, or I gotta do more cardio, just be more active. Like, and those things do you more harm than good. So don't just focus on the scale, what the number says, but look at yourself visually. If you're getting leaner, so many other ways to tell if you're losing fat. Another thing is that even though you're in a calorie deficit, I mentioned my other tips, if you're still pushing yourself in the gym, you're still training hard, you're not having the mentality, oh, I'm cutting, so I gotta train a little bit less, not go as hard. If you're pushing yourself, everything, you're still gonna be building muscle in a calorie deficit. You can still, just because you're in a calorie deficit doesn't mean you won't build muscle. That's not how it works. You don't need an excessive amount of calories to build muscle. So if you're pushing yourself in the gym, you're gaining muscle while losing fat at the same time. So the scale is going up, like they're fighting each other. It wants to go up because you're gaining muscle, but you're losing fat, so it wants to go down. So, it might be, sometimes where the scale stays the same for a couple days. Just because that happens, that doesn't mean you need to, drop calories lower. Doesn't mean you got to do more cardio. Try to just look at yourself, see if you're visually see any change. If not, then maybe I would still say wait a couple, like 2, 3 more, 4 more days, and just if nothing's changing, okay, then you could go ahead and add a little bit more cardio or drop your calories a little bit. But do it little by little, Drop your calories by like 100 calories. Drop your calories by 100. Add like 100 calories to your cardio. You don't want to, do so much, because you're just going to negatively affect yourself more than you positively would. And yeah, I think that was 10. About 10ish at least, maybe 9. Go watch the video. But yeah, man, hope you guys enjoyed. Something simple. Just me here talking, cutting. I'm currently cutting, I said, so that would just do that. So yeah, again, I think that was an alright video. Just me talking right here. Hope you guys enjoyed. Today's a Monday. I'm recording this. I'll have it edited tonight, posted tomorrow, Tuesday morning. And hopefully my next upload is Friday. I think about just doing a day in the life of a college student. What I do at school, go to the gym and stuff like that. What I do after the gym. That's probably what I'll do. Post that video during the weekend or something. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys in the next one. You know what? Actually, before I sign off, I know I'm already like 2 meals in, so it's not like a super accurate way of what I'm looking like, but you guys like a little update, I guess, in terms of what I'm looking like. The weight at, what was it, 170 point something? I'm not exactly what though, but damn, my window's open actually now that I think about it. Yeah, leaning down, I've been showing a little bit, tiny bit. Last time I cut, losing the lower body fat was my biggest struggle, which, it most likely will be my biggest struggle again, but I'm getting leaner. Weight will keep going down. But, yeah, my hair's a little bit messed up. Yeah. I need a haircut too, man. Hope you guys enjoyed. Again, see you guys in the next one.